Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal.
All right.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Look at the coast. We get together, have a few laughs.
A Movie Odyssey with Brad Patello and Gus Trout.
All right. All right. Now I'm overthinking. All right.
Maybe. Wait. Okay. You go ahead. You go.
All right. Welcome to our podcast. Stupid.
This is good stuff.
Here we go. We're going for real now. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Hey gang, welcome. It's Brad Patello here, my good friend Gus Trout. We are discussing the 1989 film Roadhouse today. Let's do a couple brief introductions. This is our first episode. My name's Brad Patello. I'm an animator. I've worked on some stuff and I teach at Edinburgh University. And I love movies. So I don't know, I might cut this out, but do you want to briefly tell us who you are?
Yeah, I like this. I'm Gus Trout. I went to Edinburgh. Brad was my professor and became my friend. And I'm also an animator. And I also love movies.
Awesome.
And I have also done some stuff.
Just two animators who like movies. So, yeah.
I might like movies, live action movies, more than I like animated movies.
Yeah, Roadhouse, 1989. Patrick Swayze. Overall impressions, Gus. Do you want to? This was your pick. So do you want to tell us about your relationship with the movie?
Sure. I mean, this is one of those movies I've probably seen 1,000 times just growing up on USA or TNT or Spike or AMC or whatever it was on, FX. It's so rewatchable. This is my little thing I wrote down here. Well-paced, well-crafted, rewatchable as hell, and a trash masterpiece. It rides the line of being kind of a good movie, but also it's complete trash.
Yeah, it's right.
It's great.
It's definitely a camp classic. It's like I have the same kind of thing with it. Like I've seen bits and pieces of it. Like I would just catch it when it was on TV. I think prior to like sitting down and watching it for this podcast, I had seen it all the way through, like maybe only once or twice. And it was probably the edited for TV version because I don't remember it being so booby. There's a lot of boobs.
Yes, lots of boobs. And you also see Patrick Swayze's ass and you see Sam Elliott's bush.
Yeah, you got Sam Elliott Bush. Yeah, that's right. When he shows him his scar. Yeah. There's a scene too at the end where
he's a hairy dude.
Yeah. Patrick Swayze dives into like the river at the end, and I think he's
oh, he is 100% nude.
I think we get full frontal. It's hard to see it, but
now question, Brad, did you pause it to see if he is truly nude?
I didn't pause
it. Cat's out of the bag for me. The answer is yes.
You okay, we have confirmation. Are we sure it wasn't a body double? Because it was like a really wide.
Patrick Swayze. Yeah, he has a run. He has his physique. That's his hair.
You're saying
what I was saying is that one, I paused the movie.
Okay.
I was like, can you straight up see Patrick Swayze fully nude?
Yeah.
At the very end of Roadhouse. But one, I don't think it's a stunt double or a dong double, if you will. And the blind singer is on they have him, they're hanging out with the blind singer. They're like, he can't see us. Let's get naked and make out in the disgusting pond that the night before I fucking killed a dude.
Yeah.
Ripped his throat out, threw him in the water. Talk about convenience on like.
Was Jeff Healey in that
location.
Scene? Was he in that scene? Jeff Healey?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I missed that. I was too busy.
I
was too busy looking at Patrick Swayze's dick.
Mhm.
So he's just hanging out with him at the end.
Yeah, he's just sitting. They like had him sit down on a picnic blanket, and he's chilling, and they're swimming.
And they're both nude, clearly.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we get a lot of nudity in the uncut version. Patrick Swayze butt. We get Kelly Lynch butt. Every woman in the movie, I think, is
Sam Elliott
topless
Bush.
at some point. Yeah, Sam Elliott Bush. This is definitely a camp classic. It's hyper masculine camp. There's so much testosterone in this movie. There's like men puffing their chests out. A lot of like,
And the 80s, like the beginning of the movie is a Ferrari, a red Ferrari pulling up and parking. And it follows this girl out. And that's when the title comes up on screen, Roadhouse.
That's right.
Right over this girl's ass. And just like the 80s excess of like that whole beginning scene, which like, I get it. They're trying to show like Dalton has made this bar super profitable and stuff, and people are throwing money down. And one of the first lines I wrote down was, how about some gold plastic? Because he throws his MasterCard down or whatever.
There's a lot of good lines in this.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of like just really weird, people say really quirky things. There's a bunch of like, especially the scene with where he first meets Kelly Lynch, that whole sequence where he goes to get stitched up.
Yeah.
And Kelly Lynch puts staples in him. That whole conversation is just so quotable. I wrote most of it down. I guess we'll talk about it under script.
Let's hear some.
Well,
oh sure, yeah. Save it for categories.
Yeah, we have categories we're going to go through. Hopefully, I don't know how much we're going to stick to it, but she says, "I'll give you a local. No, thank you. Do you enjoy pain? Pain don't hurt." That's his line.
Don't you think he's about to say another line after that though? It sounds like he's about to, like, that's half the script. And then he like screwed up and they're like, screw it. It sounds good. Let's go.
We're just going to leave that take. That wasn't what was written, but do you always carry your medical records around with you? It saves time. Because he goes to get stitched up and he's got his folder there, his medical folder that he gives her. And she like starts going through it. Oh, you've got 2 bullet wounds and so broken ribs. And
you also went to NYU?
Yeah, he has a degree in philosophy from NYU.
Real quick, I was seeing if I couldn't find any behind the scenes stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. And
I saw an interview with Patrick Swayze, and one of the things that grabbed him about this movie was that it was like a beat 'em up. He was a bouncer philosopher. Yeah. And I was like, but I've seen this movie 1 billion times. Never did I ever think, oh yeah, it's that movie where Patrick Swayze is a bouncer and a philosopher. You know what I mean?
You don't really get the philosophy. It's just like he says it once. Like he says a few things that are kind of philosophical, but that's just part of it. Do you
remember his 3 rules?
Oh yeah. It was
did you write those down?
I didn't. I'm sure you did. Do you write, what are his 3? It was be nice was one of them. And he goes off on that.
That's number 3.
Okay. And then it was
it's number 1 outside. Yeah, that's number 2.
Number 2 is take it outside. All right. And then
1 is never underestimate your opponent.
Okay. Those are good rules. Yeah. I don't know how philosophical that is, but all right, cultural context and legacy is one of our categories. This came out in 1989. It did really badly. It was nominated for 4 Razzies, or 5, I think. Did you see that? Like worst?
No, I didn't see that.
Worst script, worst direction, Rowdy Harrington. Only a guy named Rowdy could direct this, by the way. Worst actor, Patrick Swayze.
What?
Worst supporting actor, Ben Gazzara. It didn't win any, but it did really bad at the box office. It bombed, but then it found like a cult following later. And
it's like great background fodder. It's it's enjoyable to watch. I think that the two things that make it shine are the people behind the camera. It's the cinematographer and the editor. You should see his filmography is insane. When we get there, we'll talk about it. But it's like
Dean
every
Cundey
movie,
too.
Every action movie. Yeah, Dean Cundey is the man. Yeah,
he shot, like you said, he shot all of the John Carpenter stuff, all 3 Back to the Futures, a bunch of Spielberg stuff, including Jurassic Park. He's got a pretty impressive resume.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, Roger Rabbit. That's another one. The lighting in this, you're right. This movie looks really good. The lighting is really good.
And just like the wide angle lenses for most of it. And it just has like a feeling, like the craftsmanship behind it is like, people are still trying to make this movie. Like, I know it's a shitty movie, but like there is something that people love about this movie. And it's one of those movies that like, you just, I don't know. It's kind of up on a pedestal, I think, of like trash awesomeness.
Yeah, it's good, bad. It's not a good movie in the traditional sense. Like, but it's so much fun to watch because it's so campy, and it's sort of a period piece almost. It captured this moment in culture, the late 80s, so beautifully,
Right, almost breaking. Yeah. Yeah. It made me think that like going to a bar, I was going to get my fucking ass whooped instantly.
My son says, "Why are there so many fights going on?" His first.
A few random things I wrote down were like, what was the budget for fake breakaway bottles?
Yeah. Sugar glass.
It's like, yeah. There's a great little moment where Patrick, at the beginning, when he gets to the double deuce for the first time, and it's a shithole, and a fight breaks out, and Patrick kind of like whips his head away and dodges a bottle real quick.
Oh yeah.
It's great. There's these little moments throughout the whole movie that like kind of push it beyond like being a complete piece of shit. Like the worst parts of this movie are like the fact that they probably have a bunch of stuntmen acting as all the bar goers that get in fights. So
yeah,
they're like,
they did.
"Hey, you got $20? Come over and touch my girl's boobs." Like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, that scene.
It's horrible. It's like horrible in like every way.
Those, by the way, that couple that we see at the beginning are credited as. Did you see this in the credits? Sharing husband and well-endowed wife. That's what they're credited as.
Love it.
On IMDb, that's what it says about them.
Neither of them movie a Razzie.
Neither of them have pictures on their IMDb's either. But yeah, it was badly reviewed at first. I think actually Roger Ebert said when he reviewed it, said a lot of the same things that we're saying now. It's not good, but it's fun.
There's a level of charm to it that like breaks through. I just feel like movies these days are either like unwatchable, unbelievably mediocre, or good.
There's no in
okay.
between.
What, you know what I mean? There's no in between. This movie is like charming and fun and cool and like and memorable. And like all the characters, you remember the characters. I remember Red. I remember like all the henchmen. I might not know their names, but like I can picture them in my head.
We got to talk about the henchmen at
that's
some
good.
point. Like all the like there's that fat henchman with the red suspenders.
Yeah, I actually wanted to bring him up. This is gonna be super nerdy, but if you've heard of Tekken, right? It's a fighting game.
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Arcade game. In the newer Tekkens, like Tekken 7 and on, there's a character called Bob, and he's like very elegant and badass, but he's also super overweight, and he has red suspenders on and a red button-up shirt and jeans. He's dressed exactly like the fat guy. Like the dudes at Tekken designing characters like love Roadhouse. Basically.
Sure they do.
That's what I'm getting at.
I wanted to get a sense of like how nerdy I should be with like all of my references, and I guess we'll have to play it by ear, but I'll probably be throwing out like nerdy Star Trek references and
Well, those will go over my head, but I'm down for all nerdiness.
I did want to mention too that I don't know how much, speaking of nerdiness, how much Mystery Science Theater you watch, because they're like always referencing this movie.
Really?
They have
How so?
well, in one episode, this is in a 1991 episode, Crow called it his favorite movie, and he wrote and performed A Christmas Carol, Let's Have a Patrick Swayze Christmas, based on Roadhouse. I got to send you that video, yeah. But they just always reference it in the same way we are, as like they like it ironically. And I think I became and this is 2 years, this is 1991, 2 years after it's come out. People are already referencing it as like a cult camp classic on TV shows.
I guess I could understand the initial, like, it's hard for me to put my head around like that era. I mean, I was born in '86.
I was going to ask
3.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, but like, this Razzie thing's thrown me for a loop. I really didn't realize this was like completely. I understand. I get that it's not a good movie, but it is a good movie. Yeah,
but I don't know. People in 1989, you're not like
what the hell
seeing
else was
it
coming out.
Well, I was going to say Kelly Lynch had like 4 films out that year, and one of them was Drugstore Cowboy, which is like my favorite film she was in.
I haven't seen that.
I don't know.
That's Matt Dillon, right?
Yeah. And like Back to the Future 2, I think, and was out that year. And I don't know, but like in 1989, you don't have that extra element of like just the 80s-ness of it. Like all the hair and clothing is just very, at that time, it's very contemporary. We look at it now and it's just like, oh my God, look at everyone's hair. But
some of Patrick Swayze's outfits are just like, he has this outfit where he's wearing jeans and like the top of like a martial arts gi.
Yeah.
He's like dressed down, then up, then back down. And then he's in the middle with like, in the sex scene, he takes off his blazer and he has like this oversized sweater vest on with a white t-shirt underneath that.
That's right. Yeah. The costumes in this.
Yeah.
When Kelly Lynch shows up for their date, we meet her like in the hospital and she's dressed like a doctor and she looks kind of normal, but then when she shows up for the date, like she's all like dressed up to go out and she's wearing like a picnic blanket. Like,
yes, that's exactly. I wrote it down.
And her hair's like out to here. We had like in my high school, my 1991 yearbook, when I was a senior, every girl had hair like that, like the hair that goes out on the sides and up on the front with all the hairspray. That was like the thing.
It's something about Mary, but like 360 version.
Yeah, out to the sides too, and you wonder how much hairspray was involved in this movie between the two of them.
Oh, it looks hideous.
Yeah.
It looks horrible.
But that's how everyone wore it. Then that's what I'm saying. Like in '89, you didn't have that element of like the bad hair. I mean, people didn't think of that as bad hair. It was just hair. As ridiculous as it is.
Patrick Swayze looked dope. Yeah.
I had a mullet at one point too. I'm ashamed to admit it, but
before we get into categories, I just want to say, after watching this movie, I wanted a MGD, a Miller Genuine Draft, so badly. They're just pounding them through this whole movie.
Yeah. I wonder if they sponsored.
Oh, they had to, because they're drinking High Life. There's Miller. It's Miller time.
Yeah, it's a lot of Miller.
Roadhouse.
Anything for mood and tone? I think we kind of covered it. That was one of our categories, but I think we kind of wove a lot of that in. Like, it definitely doesn't take itself too seriously, right? I mean, the whole thing's kind of tongue in cheek.
The thing is, yeah, but like, this would kind of be an acting, but like Swayze raises this movie up a couple bars with, like, he takes it quite seriously, you know, like he takes his job super seriously. He also has like a presence to him that like feels like he could fuck shit up. Like he is that character, you know?
Yeah.
Well, in the interview, he brings up about like, he just was excited to do, like, he loves action movies. He wanted to do like a fun action movie, which you can bucket list, check that off, because this movie's dope.
Well, I heard he hurt his knee working on it, and then as a result, he had to turn down a role in Predator 2. And I think that was...
Well, that's just destiny.
Yeah, but he he ended up doing Ghost instead, so...
Gary Busey that's one of my favorite, the lions, the tigers, the bears. Oh my. That's from Predator 2.
That's right. And then the two of them would be in Point Break together, like just a year.
We got to talk about Predator 2. Let's just skip over Predator 1. Everybody's talked about it. It's the best movie ever made. And then we'll just go to Predator 2.
Predator 2 is no slouch.
Oh, this is there's actually a little 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon going on here with Predator 1 and 2 and Roadhouse.
Okay.
In the first fight, I believe it's the first fight in the when Swayze Dalton gets to the double deuce. There's like he must be a stuntman, you know. He is in, so he gets thrown around in a couple of shots in Roadhouse, but he tries to fly the helicopter away in the like encampment in Predator in the first big gunfight
when they're taking everyone down.
Yeah, and Arnold's like put C4 on like a truck and like lifted it up off this, and the truck's rolling down the C4 into the helicopter. He blows up in that, and then he's also in Predator 2. He's like a drug gangster guy at the beginning of the movie, and he's the last one alive. He's got 2 Uzis and he's got cocaine all over his face, and he's up on the roof and he's shooting at the Predator. But Danny Glover thinks he's shooting at him, and he shoots him off the thing. Anyways, little connection there.
It's the same guy.
I also might be wrong. I'm almost positive, though. Okay. I have a thing for faces, Brad.
All right, cool. All right, script, story, and direction. Rowdy Harrington, we talked about. I guess we should...
He didn't really do too much.
Yeah, I know. He was a grip. He directed a couple things and kind of dropped off. He directed I think this was like his big moment, this movie.
This one is basically the one that everybody would know. There's a what's it called? At Striking Distance or something like that with Striking Distance. Bruce Willis.
So the story, I guess we'll go through kind of what happens in the film. Patrick Swayze plays Dalton, who's a bouncer. He gets hired by...
he's a cooler
/ bouncer. He's a cooler.
Yeah.
Cooler's like a bouncer who specializes in de-escalation, I guess. I had to look it up. I didn't...
Yeah, is that like a real thing?
I don't know. I haven't heard it in any other context besides this movie.
Yeah.
Probably it's a thing. I don't know.
I did write down cooler.
Yeah.
In my notes.
Is that in the script? Like, does anybody reference him as that? Or is that just...
Yeah, at the very beginning, I heard you're the best cooler. No, okay. Like, I'm not the best one. That's Wade Garrett's the best one. Yeah.
That's when Tileman hires him.
Mm-hmm. So that guy's almost always an asshole in movies, and he's actually like a good guy in this movie.
Yeah, Tileman, played by Kevin Tighe. I knew him from Lost. I recognized him. He was in Lost.
But he almost always plays sort of like a scumbag rich guy.
He was a scumbag in Lost. So Tileman owns a bar and hires Dalton to come clean it up. The bar is like just a shithole. He gets there, goes to work cleaning it up, which invokes the ire of a local crime lord played by Ben Gazzara, Brad Wesley. I was trying to get a sense of the town. Like,
that's the thing I wrote down. The location.
Yeah.
You basically only see this bar and the bar and that
and the
Red's
place, right?
Hardware store. They're
And
like across the gravel parking lot from each other.
Yeah, it looks like they just put up these two buildings just to shoot the movie.
Right, because they blow the one up.
Yeah.
And the other thing, so you basically see that, and then you see the farm, which is also then across the man-made river thing.
I didn't get that.
The bad guy lives right there. So there is no sense of location. Yeah.
The crime lord, his evil lair is directly across the river from the farm. I guess it's a farm where Dalton rents a loft, and it's clearly just a hay loft. I think you see hay stacked in it the first time he goes in. But like
baling hay or whatever.
I was trying to figure out, first of all, they say it's outside of Kansas City, but it's clearly shot in California because there's like mountains in the background. Did you notice that in one shot, there's like, you see in the background a highway sign for Los Angeles? Like get on this on-ramp to go to Los Angeles.
Yeah. I was just before we started recording this, I was kind of just had it on with my wife, and she was like, where was this shot? California? Like right away.
Yeah.
Because you can see the mountains.
But the town just like
makes sense.
So we learned that Ben Gazzara's character, Brad Wesley, is running a typical like protection racket on the local business people. They all pay him like 10% a week or something. He like shakes them all down every week.
Right. And Red brings up though something about how it's like it's all legal because he has them sign up. It's through some kind of like, local, I don't know. He has it so it's tricky for them to. It's actually kind of smart writing. It's a little tiny one-liner in there for Brad kind of explaining.
That's true. We don't see any other businesses or locations. He references a 7-Eleven and a JCPenney at one point. So we know the town has like 5 or 6
Well, the
businesses.
JCPenney's coming in.
Yeah. The JCPenney's not there yet. They're going to get a JCPenney.
No, not yet.
I guess what I'm getting at is
ask anybody.
Is this town big enough to warrant having its own crime lord? I mean, it seems like an unlikely place for a crime lord to set up.
Well, I think that that does add to the ridiculousness of the plot itself, that there's these coolers that come. I almost feel like this movie would have worked if it made it 20 years earlier and you put like Paul Newman in there, and then you took out the whole ending, 20 minutes ending where they just turn it up to like 11, and there's,
you mean where he attacks
Patrick Swayze storms the giant mansion.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, the sense of location's really weird, like where things are, and like
it's real bad.
It's just it feels like a fake town, like that they put up just to shoot the movie. Like what's the town in Tremors? Like what is it? Perfection, Nevada, or something?
Oh yeah.
Like, he's clearly
that
like
feels better than this movie.
Yeah. So he ends up blowing up most of the
I would say though that
business. There's like 2 impossibly large explosions in this movie.
There are some. I like that before he gets there, he goes and sees the place. The credits are still rolling. The credits are still coming up on screen.
That's right.
The intro credits. He's walking through the bar. He's eyeing up everybody. He sees everything that was wrong. he leaves. He gets his apartment or his barn shack. He gets the new car and he gets the tires, knowing that they're gonna like probably, you know,
He gets a
fuck his car up. So he doesn't want his Mercedes Benz to get fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. He buys a smashable car.
Yeah. Oh, great casting on that. On the car salesman.
Oh yeah,
the used car salesman guy.
Yeah,
he looks exact. It looks like if you were to design him in a cartoon.
That was the other business I forgot about. There's a car dealership as well, which they smash with a monster truck. The villains have a monster truck, and they use it to smash.
Oh, that
the car
is so
dealership.
80s. Yes, and they actually drive it around like it's their like around town car.
Yeah, apparently that scene cost like $500,000 to shoot, where they destroy the car dealership. So Kevin Teig's character, that was the other thing I wasn't clear about either, was like the Double Deuce at the beginning, it's a shithole. You know, he goes in there and like, you know, the band's playing behind chicken wire, people throwing shit, you know, they're selling drugs. The one guy's like taking money out of the till.
Well, I think the idea is that he recently bought that and like he's making moves. Like he has the plans, the blueprints.
Yeah, I mean, he presents the blueprints for the new, like what he's planning to do to it. But it's just, we never see that happen. It's just like, oh, the chicken wire's gone. I think I wrote that down too. Like, where did the chicken wire go? Like, because one time you go like probably a third of the way through the movie, it cuts back to the band and they're not behind chicken wire anymore. And now there are like neon lights behind him, like turquoise colored neon lights. And it says Double Deuce in big pink neon letters.
A lot of pink in this movie.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of red too. Like a lot of red cars. The employees of the Double Deuce wear red shirts toward the end.
Keith David is in this movie.
Yeah, barely. He's like.
Did you realize?
Yeah, I see him.
He doesn't. I don't know if he even has a line. He's one of my favorite actors.
I know. He's been in like 2 of my favorite John Carpenter films. But yeah, he's barely in it. He had a credit in the opening. Like you see his name in the opening credits, and I'm like, oh, Keith David's in this. But then he's like just barely in it. He's like got 2 lines.
You actually see him fighting. I only caught it this last time, you know, watching it. But he's in the background after they blew up Red's hardware shop.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
And Brad's in there like, oh, get the fireman in here. I want to buy him a drink. Hey, Elvis, play some music, you know. And then that's the striptease happens, which is just insane.
Oh yeah,
that girl is all over the place.
Yeah, that Ben Gazzara's character. They established that he's evil because he drives recklessly. You remember that scene where?
Well,
he's just.
I love that scene. That adds. I think this movie is paced beautifully. Nothing lingers really, and there's really good like transitions from like where the music will start playing, you know, before the scene ends to lead into the next scene.
The editing is good,
and like him just listening to that song, he doesn't give a shit.
No,
like,
he doesn't.
He's on the phone with Swayze at one point, and he puts the phone down to flip a coin, but doesn't tell him that he's putting the phone down. He's like, hey, let me flip a coin. And then he just puts the phone down, and Swayze's like, hey, are you still there? What the hell's going on? And he's just taking his time flipping the coin.
He shows up in a helicopter too. Like the first time we see him. What is the car he's got?
He also is driving a 3-wheeler.
Oh, that's right.
Which you definitely don't see anymore. They're like super dangerous.
Those got outlawed.
Just like stop making them all together.
Because that's an 80s thing. Oh, the other thing about the town too.
Yeah, I kept on writing down so 80s.
What I wanted to point out too about like who are the town people? Like at the end of the movie, you know, Swayze storms the compound and there's the climactic battle. Like he dispatches all the henchmen, and finally it's down to him and Ben Gazzara, and he's kind of losing the fight. And then all the townspeople show up to like turn the tide of the fight. But it's just like those four guys. Mm-hmm. It's just like it's Tileman, Red, the car dealer guy, and then the dude who he rents the loft from.
Car sales, yeah. I think where this movie shines is the bar scenes, which makes sense, being that it's about bars.
Everything is set up like story-wise, and then there seems to be a payoff to everything. There's no like loose ends at the end of the movie.
Sound and music.
Yeah, we got to talk about Jeff Healey here. His music is another thing that really elevates this too. It fits, it's like it's supposed to be this country bar. It's his music,
sleazy rock and roll.
Yeah, it's like bluesy. And his music, I don't know, he's got like probably 7 or 8 songs that he plays throughout it. Most of them are covers, but
I mean it works for the movie.
Yeah, it feels like Jeff Healey's the score for this, but it's a little bit jarring to hear an actual score. I remember the one moment where I really noticed it was after he finds out Sam Elliott's been killed. There's like this really dramatic music playing, and it kind of was jarring. And
I completely agree. I noticed it too. Like at the end fight, well, the big fight scene between Swayze and the like head honcho guy, he's actually like a martial artist kickboxer guy. He helped train Swayze for this.
You mean like the henchman that he kills in the river?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like an actual kickboxer guy, and he gets his throat ripped out.
His name is Jimmy.
But the score there, I had just watched Die Hard because it's Christmas season, so I'm gonna watch Die Hard. Force my wife to watch it. She just looked at her phone the entire time. From just watching Die Hard, the score in Die Hard and the score during moments of that particular fight scene with Jimmy are like so close. Is Die Hard 89 too, or is it?
I want to say 88.
Yeah, so it was a year before. So
yeah, it felt a little bit out of place. I almost wish it was just Jeff Healey music throughout.
Well, I just appreciate diegetic music, usually throughout movies.
But like you said, the way that it's cut in too, like when when we're cutting out of a scene, like we hear the music start and then, we see the scene go on for a few more seconds and then we cut into the bar again. And it's like, that's kind of the Jeff Healey music's almost like the emotional heart of it. It kind of carries the edit, it carries a lot of like transitioning between scenes, and it definitely has the right feel. And he was kind of famous. He had a music video and a song that was like a big hit in 1988 called See the Light.
I'm checking that out right after this.
Yeah, he was pretty popular for a minute there. Jeff Healey unfortunately died of cancer in 2008.
I didn't know that. R.I.P.
Rest in peace, Jeff Healey.
To the effects category here, there is animation.
There is?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Can you think of the one animated part of this movie? It's so quick. If you blinked, you wouldn't even see it.
Was it a horse? I don't know.
No, it's the Swayze sees some guys come to the bar halfway through, and
the glimmer
the guy,
on the
he
knife.
goes exactly.
That was okay.
He goes like, look, left boot, and there's like this still locked off shot of the boot with the awesome sheen goes by.
Yeah, it's like
I love that stuff. That's like super 80s. Yeah.
I was going to shout out to the stunts. I mean, the main thing, there was something like 50 stunt performers credited in this movie, and I think most of them are
when
extras in the fights, like the big wide shots where you see like the whole bar is fighting. Those are like stunt guys.
Yeah, when you're watching the end credits, you see it says gets the stunt. Yeah, it says stuntman or whatever, and it's just like it's like animators in a Pixar film. The amount of names you see. I mean, like when you think about some of those like simpler stuff you see, like, oh, I could do that. Yeah, but they just did it like 10 times in a row. Like falling over a couch or something.
Yeah, that's the thing about some of these stunts.
This is not an easy movie to shoot.
No.
You have to like clean up all the broken glass, pick up all the shit. Like,
yeah, like let's
don't
get
fuck
a new
this up, guys.
Let's get a new sugar glass bottle for this scene.
We really haven't talked about Sam Elliott too much because I did write down Sam Elliott is a god. He looks so good in this movie.
He does. He's pretty hot in this. Yeah.
He looks so cool.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott and Ben Gazzara all team up in
Big Lebowski. Yeah, that's right. They're both in that together.
And Ben Gazzara basically plays the same character.
It's like the perfect time for him too, because he's like he's still kind of young. He's not totally gray yet, but he's got some gray, and he's just super hot.
Yeah, salt and pepper.
He's super sexy in it.
He looks so sexy.
He carries himself with such confidence too. He's like perfect cowboy character.
Even though I like his limp. He pulls that limp off really well.
That's true.
I did write down Roadhouse 2, which actually I found out is a movie.
Really?
Yes, it's called Roadhouse 2 Last Call, of course, you know.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, I read that in 2015 they came out and said they were doing a remake with Ronda Rousey. But I don't know if it went anywhere.
I can't imagine that being good.
Yeah,
Swayze's dead. Leave it be.
I don't know. Can Ronda Rousey act? Has she been in anything?
That's what I would be. Maybe she's been in stuff as like some opponent that doesn't really talk ever or something like that.
Yeah, I can see her being like a boss fight character in a kung fu movie, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Game of Death.
So so how should we end this? How do we?
I don't know. I'm gonna
coming out of Roadhouse. Like, what do we learn?
What's the takeaway here? Rest in peace, Patrick Swayze and Jeff Healey.
I'll be drinking an MGD.
Let's pour out an MGD for.
We'll be drinking a couple MGDs. Yeah.